Hello everybody, welcome to this verbling class. My name is Teacher Amy and today's class is about grammar. So this class is going to be talking about some of the small errors that students make because of the very similar groups of words that we have in English. And they're sort of like the typical mistakes that lots of students make. So I've called this series Getting a Grip on Grammar Gripes, which is a bit of alliteration for you. Today we're going to be looking at the words still, yet, and already, and then we'll follow that with looking at the words very, too, and enough. That's T-O-O, too. So if you want to get it really correct, get those words nailed so that you really understand them and can use them correctly, then do come along in and join us. Before we get started on the grammar, let me just introduce to you a few little links that can help you here on Verbling. The first link is to my Facebook page. So if you go ahead to visit the teachers, the Facebook page of any teacher, you can like them and have their updates appear on your news feed. Just keep in touch on Facebook, which is quite convenient and a nice informal way of keeping in touch with both the teachers and the other students. The other page I'm going to tell you about is my Verbling teacher page. So this is where you should go if you want to, see upcoming classes for a particular teacher. So say you've enjoyed one of their classes and you think, okay, I'd like to go and have a class with this teacher again. You can go to the Verbling teacher page, have a look at when their next classes are coming up, and you can book a slot so that you don't miss out if you'd like to. If you click on the blue follow button, then you'll receive automatic notifications, so you won't actually have to keep visiting the page, which can make it easier. Another reason to go to the Verbling teacher page is to check out a teacher's private tutoring schedule. So teachers offer that on here on Verbling for students if they would like to just have a one-on-one session, just you and the teacher, and that gives you a whole hour just to focus on something that you want to look at. And maybe make a bit more speedy progress on something if you've got an exam coming up or if you just want that extra tuition. So you'll see each teacher's schedule there. What else is there? Also the messaging feature. So any questions, do go ahead and write to one of us through the messaging feature and we will get back to you. So, as I mentioned before, this class is on grammar. So we're not so much going to be learning the grammar as sort of trying to talk about the problems that certain words bring up and how we can avoid those so that you can get your English sounding really perfect. Okay, let's say hi and see who we've got today. So we'll say first of all hello to Alejandro.
Hello, teacher.
Hello. Now, excuse me, Alejandro, I'm sorry, but I can't remember if I've met you before or not. Have we met before?
Yes, I was in class before.
Excellent. All right, well, it's nice to see you again. And how is your studying going? Is your English going okay?
No, not much.
You're very honest. All right, well, I'm sorry to hear that, Alejandro, but at least you're in class now, and hopefully this will help you.
Okay.
Welcome to the class. And Mary, long time no see. How are you?
I'm a fine teacher. Thank you for asking. You?
I'm great, thank you. How is your studying going?
I think my study is going very well, but sometimes I get lazy and depends my mood, I think.
Yeah, it depends on your mood, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad to hear that it's going well in general anyway. All right, welcome back. Julio, how are you doing?
Hey teacher, I'm doing fine, thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing great, thank you very much. And tell me, Julio, have you learnt any more idioms lately? You're my idiom king.
Yes, I learned a lot of funny idioms the other day. I was learning these idioms about the water.
Okay.
It's like water under the bridge. It's like a drop in a bucket. A lot of funny idioms.
All right. Very
No, it
good.
is water. Like there's one that's really funny. It's like water off the dog's back.
Yeah, that's a really common one.
Yeah, it's a
Can you
good
explain
one.
what it means?
It means that when someone or you receive a comment from someone that you think is worthless, like it's a comment for the birds, then you just say, I don't care. I mean, it's like water of the dog's back. That guy doesn't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's great. Exactly. So if it's like water off a duck's back, it means it doesn't affect you. It just slides off you. It doesn't
Yeah.
go inside your brain and go, ah. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Julio. All right, Raphael, how are you doing? Welcome back.
Hi, Amy.
Good to see you again. And Kako, hello.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. How's studying going?
It's going well. I
Good.
I have been dedicating an average of 2 hours a day on verbally.
Very good, Kako. And has it been helping you?
Yes, teacher.
Excellent. I'm very glad to hear that. All right, guys. So let's get on with our topic for today, which is some grammar. We're going to look at two groups of 3 words, and the first one we're going to look at is still, yet, and already. Now, what I'm going to do is send you across to a little bit of an explanation of these 3 words. We're going to read them together, just talk about them if there are any issues or questions, and then we're going to do some exercises, sort of like practice type thing. So hopefully by the end of the class you should be a lot more knowledgeable about, or maybe not so much knowledgeable, but just confident about how to use these words. So if you'd like to, just click on the link and have a brief look. I can't talk today. I'll say hi to David. How are you doing, David? Oh, and he's disappeared. He must be doing really badly. Hopefully he'll be back soon. How are you, Shafar? I haven't seen you for a while. Are you okay?
Yes, teacher. Thank you.
Welcome
I'm
to
okay.
class. How's your
Yeah.
studying going? I've been asking everybody that today. Have you
What?
been? How's your studying going? Have you been learning lots of English?
No, there's no miss in my class. I just not seeing because out of time. I'm learning in the evening in my
Ah, yeah,
yeah. So
that's no problem, Shafar. I wasn't asking that. I was just seeing if your English studying is going well or not. But it sounds like it
it's
is.
good. It's good.
Excellent. I'm
It's good.
glad to hear that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully
Thank you.
David will be back in a moment, but we're going to start without him. Poor David. All right, I'm going to do a screen share, guys, because it's the easiest way for us to follow along together, and hopefully you can see that. So we're going to read this, grammar gripes. Still, yet, and already. So, any volunteers to read? Anyone like to read?
Julio.
Thank you, Julio. Off you go.
Okay. Sorry. Grammar gripes. Still, yet, and already. The weather forecast said it will clear up this afternoon, but it's still raining. We've only just got to the beach and it's raining already. I really want to go out fishing this afternoon. It's sunny yet?
Excellent.
You don't
Just pause
clear.
there for a sec, Julio. Sorry to interrupt you. But what we're going to do is just go through these examples and then I'll get you to carry on. So what I'd like you to do, if anyone would like to volunteer, is just explain to me in your own words what these examples mean. So if I said to you, Julio, the weather forecast said it would clear up this afternoon, but it's still raining. What do I mean?
You mean that um, whatever it's happening in the weather is not accurate with what the forecast guy said? I mean,
Absolutely. Now, this must be taking place in the UK, right? I don't know about your countries, but this is pretty much what people say every day because the weather forecast Well, it's only correct if it says it's going to rain, basically. But you're absolutely right, Julio. What I'm saying is that the weather is not going along with my expectation. It's differing from what I expected. Okay, thank you. What about this one here? Raphael, can you explain that one to me?
Uh, it means that we won't just go to the beach and it's raining already. Ah, it means that something that uh, they barely got to the beach and it's raining, so it refers to a happening that has just started. Not has just started. It started. They weren't expecting that it's raining. The fact that it's raining and it's raining already.
Absolutely.
I didn't find the right words to explain, but it's something like this.
Yes, it's difficult to explain it without using the word already, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
you've done well. You've
Yep.
done well. So as it's the same as what Julio said, it's to do with expectation. So at this time, the person expected that it was going to be sunny, and then it started to rain. Okay, and we're going to go through this a bit more in a moment. What about this one here? Um, Kako, can you explain this one, please?
This microphone is muted, I think.
Oh, Kako, are you talking?
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Amaury. I really want to go out fishing this afternoon. Is it sunny yet? Yet, in this case, is used because we are making a question. Um, it could be substitute by is it sunny? Is it continuing sunny?
Okay, almost, Kako. Actually, I think what you mean to say there is you could substitute it by saying is it still raining, right? Because you've got to change.
Is still in this case what not usable because I think it still is used in affirmation.
Okay,
Okay, teacher.
we're gonna talk about that in detail. Thank you, Kako. Thank you, all of you. Julio, if you could just read this part, please, now.
If you don't clearly understand when these three little words are used, still, yet, and already can easily be muddled up. The important thing to remember is that they all have something to do with the speaker's expectations. Let's take a quick look at the meaning of each and how they are used.
All right, beautiful. So we're clear, first of all, that we use these words when we're talking about something to do with our expectations. So it's all to do with the speaker's perspective. But we can only use them in certain situations, and we can't use them interchangeably. So we have to decide which one we use in which situation, which is what we're going to look at now. So would anybody else like to read?
Amaury, it still means that something is continuing, usually beyond the time that is expected. So, if you are a teenager in bed on Saturday morning and it's 11 half 30 a.m., your mom might well say, "Is she still asleep?" I'm not sure why moms are so often surprised by this since it's something lots of teenagers do. With negatives. It still comes before the negative verb. It's now. 11 past 45 a.m. and she still hasn't woken up.
Thank you, Amari. So just a note about times. You can either read this as 11:30, 11:45, or 11:30, or 11:45. Okay?
Okay, teacher, thank you.
So the easiest is probably just the digits, but you will hear people use the other. Okay, so what the key thing about this word still is that with regard to your expectation, something is continuing beyond the time that you expected. So you expected it to finish, but it's still happening. It is continuing beyond your expectation. So if we have this example, is she still asleep? What it means is the person is surprised to hear that she's asleep because she thought the girl should have been out of bed by now, right? So I'd like to go through a few of you and ask if you can give me an example. So just take a couple of minutes to think of an example using the word still. I want you to come up with a sentence using still. Check out the rules. And I'm going to say hello to David. Hi, David.
Hi, Yami. How are you doing?
Welcome to the class. I said hello to you and then you disappeared. Is your connection all right now?
My connection? No, my connection is very, very bad. I'm going scrolling all the time, but I'm okay.
All right. Well, we're very glad to have you with us, David.
Thank you.
And I'll also say hello to Carlos. Hello.
Hello, hello.
And you must be from Mexico, Carlos.
Yes, I am from Mexico.
All right, well, welcome. I love your flag. I think the story of the eagle and the snake is very cool. I remember reading it and thinking, that's an awesome story. So welcome to the class, Carlos. For those of you who've just arrived, we're just reading about the words still, already, and yet. So you haven't missed a lot. If you want to read, you can catch up from the top. Okay, so what I'm going to say is... Not fortunate for the snake. Very true, Julio. Okay, who would like to give me an example using the word still? A sentence.
Yeah, I'm teacher.
Yep, go
I
ahead.
can use I'm still alive.
Very good. I'm very glad to hear that you're still alive. Excellent. Perfect. Shafar, why was your expectation that you were not going to be alive? Did you? Can you give me a bit of context? Because if you say I'm still alive, there's got to be some kind of background to this for it to make sense.
Maybe because I get sick, so I need to say that I'm still alive after being sick for a coma.
Okay, so you got shot, I think you mean, right, with a gun?
Sick.
You got...
Sick.
Can you type it for me?
I mean, I'm sick.
Oh, you got sick. Sorry, the connection's not clear. So you got sick, but you're still alive. Excellent. That's a perfect example. Thank you. Who else would like to give me an example using still?
I'm still waiting for Berlin to refund me the $5 that they promised they would give me back if I recommend a friend to join Berlin.
Is that true, Julio?
Yes, that's true. I got 2 friends who joined Berlin I guess last month, and they haven't given me my money. What's wrong with these people?
That is a good point, Julio. I will write a message to Durbling after this class and see if what's happening, okay?
It's no problem.
I'm sorry to hear that, but that is the perfect usage of the word still, so thank you for that. Okay, one more person. If you don't do one with still, I'm going to make you do one with already, so it's up to you guys. Anyone want to do another with still?
She's still going out with Peter.
Very good, Alejandro. And why is that unexpected?
She has a relationship, and she hopes um, she hopes to continue her relationship.
Perfect. Excellent. Well done. Thank you. Okay. So I think still is clear. Does anybody have any questions on the word still? All right. I'll take that as a no. So we'll move on to already. Who would like to read this one?
Shuffle.
Okay, Shafar, off you go.
Already means that something has happened sooner than you expected. So it's kind of like the opposite of still. This is kind of word you would use on a Sunday morning when you're hoping to get lie in, but your small children have already woken up, gone into the lawn and put the TV on the far too loud and are watching cartoons that always seem to have those irritating, unrealistic high-pitched voice. Are the kids up already? With negative, already comes after the negative verb, but before the second verb, they are not already watching TV, are they?
Excellent. Thank you, Shafar. There's a couple of mistakes in here. Sorry, guys. This should be than you expected. And this is the kind of word you'd use on a Sunday morning. All right, so already is basically to do with your expectation again, but it means that something's happened before you expected it to, rather than after, which is what still is, right? So if we go back to the one up here, we've only just got to the beach and it's raining already. You didn't expect it to rain so soon. You hoped it would be sunny for longer, but it's the UK and, you know, as soon as you go to the beach, rain comes. So we've got the positive, which is relatively easy. We just stick it at the end of the sentence. With the negative, you've got to put it after the negative verb. So here we've got are, not, and then already, and then watching is the second verb. There's not always a second verb. Who would like to make up a sentence using the word already?
I already ate my lunch.
And why was that, Julio?
Because I usually, well, I'm sorry, maybe I should have said I already ate my dinner.
Okay.
That makes a little more sense because I usually have dinner like at 9 or something,
Yeah.
and I already eat it because I was really, really hungry.
Okay, excellent example. So you actually normally eat your dinner later, but you've already eaten it. Now, you've given me a great example. I just want to point out one key difference between US and UK English at this point. Because with this word, if you're talking about having already done something, US English, as Julio has just said, is perfectly correct. I already ate. So you use the past simple with the word already. However, in the UK, we use I've already eaten. So there's a difference in the verb tense that's commonly used, but both are correct for that particular example. So thank you, Julio. Who else would like to give me an example using the word already? How about you, Kako?
Amy, could you repeat the question, please?
Sure, I just would like you to tell me a sentence using already.
I have already read that book.
Excellent. Which book? What does it mean if you say that, Kako? Give me context.
Last week, I was reading a book.
Yep.
And On the weekend, I was reading the final page
Yep.
of it. I can say that I have already finished the reading of that book.
Okay, very good. The kind of situation that springs to my mind here, guys, is have you ever received a book as a gift, like Christmas or something? And you open it and then you think, and you probably don't say it because you don't want to offend the person, but you think, oh, I've already read that book, right? It's so disappointing because if you've read a book already, then you don't really want to read it again unless it's like, you know, the world's best book. So that's the sort of situation that you could use this sentence in. All right, great, Kako. Anybody else want to do it already, or we'll move on?
Yes, I have one.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. When I return back home, my brother had already cooked the dinner.
Excellent. My brother had already cooked, ed, the dinner.
Yes. Cooked.
Very good. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Can anyone say that about their girlfriend or their boyfriend? When I arrived home from work, my girlfriend had already cooked the dinner. Excellent. That's something that really cheers you up, isn't it, Carlos?
Yeah, my parents are in a journey, so we prepare the food right now.
Wonderful. Perfect example. Thank you. All right, let's move on to yet, guys. So, yet. Who would like to read this one?
Kako.
Kako, off you go.
Yet. Yet means that we are expecting something to happen. It is used with questions and negatives and goes at the end of the sentence. So, if you're in the car and it's a long journey and you happen to have kids in the back seat, they're likely to ask you every 2 minutes, "Are we there yet?" So that's a brief explanation of those three important little words. You can use them in all kinds of situations to talk about your expectations of something and the reality of what actually happens in life. So you can see why they're so useful, right?
Great, thank you, Kako. Okay, so the difference with the word yet, basically, guys, is that we use it with questions and negatives. And it goes at the end of the sentence, so it's quite easy to remember. This is like the most typical or common sentence that can ever happen with the word yet. I'm sure we've all experienced it when you're traveling on a long journey, and usually children, but definitely adults can say this too. Are we there yet? It means that you're kind of hoping that you're there because the journey's too long and boring, right? So, who would like to give me an example with the word yet? Nobody? All right.
I have one. I haven't finished my homework yet.
Excellent. And why is that, Carlos? Have you been watching TV?
Because sorry, I mean, why the sentence?
No, I was teasing you. That was
Okay.
that was a perfect sentence. And I asked you, why haven't you finished your homework yet? Have you been watching too much TV?
Yes, no, it's most because I'm using the computer.
Yeah, it's because you're in a verbling class, right?
Yes.
All right, guys, well done. Excellent. Thank you, Carlos. Anyone else want to do one with yet?
Yes.
Okay.
He hasn't got an English master yet.
Did you say English mastered or an English masters?
An English master.
Okay. Is she studying towards an English master?
Excuse me?
Is she? Do you mean a master's that you do at university, Alejandro?
No, no. Sorry.
That's okay. Your sentence is correct. I'm just not entirely sure which type of master. Did you say master?
Master, a degree.
So, master, a teacher, or master as in conquered?
Master is it's a degree, no?
Yes, yeah, that's absolutely right. So this is the one I'm put down here first. She hasn't got an English master's. We call it a master's. I don't know why it has an S because it's not plural, but it's called a master's. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great example. Okay, so we're going to do some practice ones now, guys. I'm going to just switch over and share something else with you. And all you have to do is to fill in the blank with the correct word. So it should be nice and easy. Let me change over to this. All right, we'll go one by one and see if we can figure this out. So I'm going to ask Shafar, could you read out number 1 and put the right word in, please?
Okay, my pleasure. So you started the book this morning and you have already finished it yet? Finished it
Absolutely. Why is it already?
because it's half already done.
Exactly. So yeah, that's correct. I know this is difficult to explain. Just want to make it nice and clear. So basically, we use already because it's surprising that the person has finished it so soon because they only started reading that morning. Okay? Well done. Thank you. Number 2 is for Raphael.
John is still working at the gym, as far as I know.
Great. Why is it still Raphael?
Because he's still working. Because it's supposed that he stopped working at the gym before the time of speaking.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Okay, number 3 is for David. Are you there, David? Can you do number 3 for us?
Yes, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can. If you can do number 3, just fill in with whichever word you think is appropriate.
Okay. Number 3. Have they told you about meeting? Have they told you about the meeting yet?
Yep, absolutely. Why is it yet?
Yet because you are expecting that they talk to you about the meeting.
Exactly right. Well done. Okay, Carlos, you're number 4, please.
They have already opened the new shopping mall. The new shopping mall
Excellent. Why do we say already?
because it's something that happened.
Yeah, it's something that we expected it to take longer, maybe, to be built, right? But they've already finished it. They already opened it. Great. Number 5 is for Kako.
I haven't seen him yet.
Good. Why is it yet?
Because we have a verb in the negative.
Very
Haven't.
good. Yep, absolutely. And it's at the end, so very good. Well worked out.
And
Number
the
6. Yep.
and the particle comes to the end of the sentence.
Exactly. Thank you, Kako. Well done. Alejandro, number 6.
I know you've apologized, but I'm still unhappy.
Has anyone ever heard somebody say this to them before? All right, that's correct, Alejandro. Why is it still here?
Because because I cannot forgive me.
Absolutely right. Yes, exactly. The person who's talking, I, is not able to forgive the person. Yeah, they still feel bad. Very good. Okay, who wants to do number 7? Anybody?
Oh, me?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I blanked, don't know what I'm going to wear for the party.
Not quite, David. It's not.
I already don't know what I'm going to wear for the party.
Nope, it's actually still. Now, I can understand why you didn't recognize this one, because basically, I don't think I've ever heard a boy say this. This is something that only girls say, right? Because what it really means is that the person has been thinking a very long time about what they're going to wear for the party, and they still don't know. And I think this tends to be a behavior that mostly females exhibit rather than males. I could be wrong there. All right, well done, everybody. Great work. We're going to move on to the second topic now, which is looking at the next set of words. Very, to, or enough. So, just a moment. I'm going to send you to another place. We can read something together. I can just find it. Oh, I have too many windows open. Where are we? Here. Okay. This is nice and straightforward. The difference between these words. So we're just going to read this because it's a great explanation. If you want to access the link, there it is. And if you want to share a screen with me, then we'll do that now. There we go. All right, so the next 3 words that we've got here are very, to, and enough. So, does anyone want to give me their own explanation of what the word very means? Give me a synonym, maybe.
Very is much.
Yep. So very means basically something that makes something stronger, right? The key thing about it is that it's neutral. It's not used for only negative situations or only positive situations. You can say something is very exciting or very boring, right? What about the word to? What does to mean?
I don't know if it's stronger than very.
Okay. Does anyone want to have venture a guess? This is probably the most confused of the 3.
It can be used like in this sentence, me too, to say that is like to the other one.
Yes.
In the same way. Or
absolutely.
It can be used as an intensifier.
Very good.
A verb. For example, too much.
Right, that's correct. Thank you, Kako. Now, in a moment, we're going to see the difference between very and to, which is very important. Not too important. Haha. Okay, what's about the word enough? What does enough mean?
Sufficient.
Excellent. All right. So we've got that sort of clear. I think most of you are familiar with these words, but let's look at the real definitive differences between them. So what we're going to look at first is the difference between very and to. So we use an adjective after them, right? And we have two sentences here. So if I can get, please, Carlos, can you read out those two sentences?
The exam is very difficult, but Jim can complete it. The exam is too difficult. Jim can't complete it.
Excellent. Now this is the key thing here, this little explanation that comes afterwards. Because if we use the word to, what we mean is that there's some kind of a negative result from it. Whereas very is simply a neutral intensifier. So if you say the exam was very difficult, we don't know if Jim was able to complete it or not. But if we say the exam was too difficult, we know that Jim was not able to do it. And that's the key difference between them. You can see the explanation here. This is possible, right? Whether he actually did it or not is not clear. You have to have some extra information, but we do know that it is possible. However, if you say that it's too difficult, we know that it was impossible. And it implies something negative. So let's see if we can use the word to in some of our own sentences. And give me an explanation that shows me that you've used it correctly. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to say, last night I drank too much. Can somebody tell me what I mean by that? What kind of situation might I have been in?
That you exaggerate. You went far from the limit, from your
Yes.
limit.
Thank you. I exceeded my own limit, right? So
Yeah.
that means, very well described, thank you, Kako. Basically, it means that I drank so much that I ended up feeling ill, or some kind of negative result came out of it. Okay, let's ask Raphael. Can you give me an example using to?
Two.
Mm-hmm.
I ate so much pizza this weekend.
Excellent. And why? What's the result of that?
I got a stomachache.
Excellent. Okay, how about Alejandro? An example using to.
Sleeves are too long.
Excellent. And what's the result of that?
I can't wear it.
Yes, exactly. Or you can't use your hands, maybe, right? Okay, thanks, Alejandro. So the rest of the examples that we have here are just different usages. So if we have a look at these examples with to, say somebody says, Alex was too short to play basketball. What do they mean? What's the result? Anyone want to guess or tell me?
That he couldn't play.
Yeah, he couldn't.
Exactly. Yes. Carlos, you have a question.
Yes, it's different, totally different the meaning between so much and too much, and too.
Yes. So much is the same sort of thing as very. It doesn't imply a negative result, and it just gives you an intensified feeling. But too much does imply a negative result, and it means that you overdid it. Okay.
Okay.
I just want to say hello to Francis because I didn't say hi to you. Welcome to the class.
Thank you, teacher. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Are you following us, Francis? We're just talking about the words too, very, and enough at the moment.
Oh, I don't know, teacher. I know really because right now I enter other class.
Yeah, you've just come in, I know. So if you just listen for a little while, and you should catch up, okay?
Okay.
If you have any questions, do let me know. All right, then let's take an example from this section. So if somebody says this, it is too late for me to go out. What are they saying to you, really?
It's very late for to it's it's
Yes.
it's very nice. It's about maybe 12 hours. Is
Yes, that's exactly right. So
have
what, Mhm. Let me explain, Francis, because what we've been talking about so far is the difference between very, which means a lot, it intensifies, but two means that something becomes impossible or has a negative result. So if you say it is too late for me to go out, what you mean is that it's impossible for you to go out because the time is now very, very late. So it's another way of saying I'm not going out, and your reason is the time, okay? So if somebody says the price of the ticket is too expensive for Mike to fly to Europe, does he fly to Europe or does he not fly to Europe? Who wants to answer?
He didn't fly to Europe.
Exactly, right? So we don't need to say that because we already know by the use of the word to that it was impossible for him to do it, so he did not do it. Does everyone understand that? Any questions about it? Okay, let's go on to enough. I love the way they put the pronunciation here. So, let's see, who would like to read? Shafar, could you read for us? Just this one here, please.
Okay. There was sufficient food for everybody at the party. There was enough food for everybody at the party. I had enough money to pay for dinner with my girlfriend. Is there enough time to finish the test?
Okay, absolutely. So, you can replace this word here with sufficient, and it makes sense every time. I think this one is quite straightforward. Does anyone have any questions about that? No? All right, let's read the next examples. Carlos, can you read those, please? Are you there, Carlos? I think he's disappeared.
Okay, okay.
Okay, excellent. Can you read for us these ones?
Everybody notices her because she's very pretty. She's pretty enough for everybody to notice her. My friend lives close enough to my house to walk. Last summer, it was hot enough to go swimming every day.
All right, so these are slightly different examples. If I say last summer, it was hot enough to go swimming every day, what do I mean? Can anyone tell me in another way what that sentence means?
it's a good weather for to go to the beach.
Yeah, absolutely. So if the temperature had been any lower, perhaps we wouldn't have gone swimming. But the temperature was sufficient that we could. Excellent. All right, let's just read these last examples just to check it out. And Alejandro, can you read these, please?
Yes. When she lost her dog, it was enough to make her cry. He was sick enough to stay home from work today. I arrived at the airport early enough to make my flight to New York.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, so in all of those ways, sufficient is probably the easiest way to check whether you're understanding it or not. Although in some cases you'd have to put it in a slightly different place. So here you'd have to say, for example, he was sufficiently sick. to stay home from work today. But we tend not to say that because sufficiently is a little bit more sort of formal. So let's have a try with some practices. And just, guys, if you could just mute your microphone while you're not talking, just to make it nice and quiet for the rest of us. Let's see. What we've got to do is the same kind of thing that we did before, but this time we're going to use the words that we just looked at. So, too, enough, or very. All right, so who's going to go first this time? Shafar, what about number 1?
You are blank young to live by yourself. Wait until you are older.
Okay, so
You,
this one actually... Sorry?
2.
Yes.
2.
Yes.
You are too young.
Excellent. So if we hadn't had the second part, right? If we hadn't had this wait until you're older, it could have been very. You're very young to live by yourself. That also makes sense. What would be the difference between saying you're too young to live by yourself or you're very young to live by yourself? Do you know, Shafar?
Yes, if we use a very, we could be proud of him to become young.
Yes.
To do that, to live by alone.
Yep.
But if we use to, it's impossible for him to living.
Beautifully explained. Well done, Shafar. Excellent. Okay, number 2, Raphael.
This pie is very tasty. Can I have some more?
Excellent. Why would you not say this pie is too tasty?
Because I think too refers to people, refers to the people you are talking to. Is that right or no? Because you are describing the pie, you know, describing a people. Is that?
No, actually, you could actually say, it's kind of a trick question, Raphael, because you could actually say this pie is too tasty if you didn't have this thing here, right? If you said this pie is too tasty, you wouldn't say, can I have some more? Because what you need after that is some kind of a negative result, a fact that because maybe you ate so much of it, now you feel sick because it was too tasty. Too tasty for words, something like that. But you're right, in this case, very makes sense because you want to get some more, so it's not going to be overly tasty, right? Can you see the difference? It's quite subtle.
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Francis, number 3.
There is more than enough room for everyone to sit down.
Excellent. Okay, so if we say more than enough, then this is like a bit of a set phrase, quite handy actually, to talk about saying that there's plenty of room. Plenty of room. Well done, Francis. Okay, Carlos, number 4.
The information in the report is very interesting.
Good. Why did you pick very?
Because you can use to because it's in a negative way, it's a negative fact, and
Yeah.
isn't it? Yes.
Yep, exactly. Well done. So if you use to with like a positive adjective, there's got to be some kind of explanation to it because otherwise it doesn't make sense, right? Number 5 is Kako.
The rent is too expensive for me to live here.
Excellent. And therefore what, Kako? What's the result?
Because it is expensive beyond my possibilities.
Yes.
It is a negative situation.
Exactly.
The result is negative.
Correct. So basically we know that the person does not live there, right?
Yeah. It could be, could it be, Amy, The rent is so expensive in this case.
You can't, not with this grammar, Kako. You could say the rent is so expensive that I can't afford to live here. Yes. But you can't say the rent is so expensive for me to live here because grammatically it doesn't work.
Okay. Okay. So that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good question. Okay. Alejandro.
Yes. The food,
Can I interrupt?
Sure.
the food at this cafe is very good.
Well done, Alejandro. Excellent. I think Francis had a question.
I heard the people say, you give me too much information. Is the expression correct or no? Because because in your explanation, no, the sentence no is negative. It's affirmative, but I don't know. I'm not sure it's correct or no.
Okay, yes, you can use the word to with pretty much anything, Francis, but what it implies is important. So if you say too much information, what you mean is the person has overdone it. You've ended up with some kind of negative result because of the amount of information. So maybe somebody's given you, like, you ask a question, and then the explanation lasts for 20 minutes, and by the end you're so confused that you could say, oh, you've given me too much information, now I can't understand, right? Alright, excellent. So let's go through the last ones, guys, and then we'll finish. So who wants to do number 7? Kako?
Do you have enough money?
Excellent. Number 8, how about Alejandro?
You are not speaking clearly. You are not speaking clearly enough.
Correct, well done. You could have also said you're not speaking very clearly, but it's a slightly different meaning. Raphael, number 9.
She's too short to reach the top shelf.
Excellent, so she can't reach it. And Francis, number 10.
There are enough books for everyone to have one.
Excellent. Well done, everybody. Super duper work. I'm hoping that you guys all understand the difference between these words a little bit more now. So it's worth having a little practice. Get them into your vocabulary because we use them all the time. So anybody have any more questions before we go?
Amy, I have read a sentence like, for example, the party was boring. Then I went home because I have had enough.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. What's your question, Kako?
Enough in this situation.
Okay, so to have had enough means that you've had sufficient of the party and you don't want any more. You're over it, right? So that's quite a specific example. To have had enough. You can say it all the time. I've had enough with your behavior. I've had enough Coke, thanks. I don't want another glass. I've had enough means that you have got to the end of your tolerance level for something.
Okay,
So you have
teacher.
no more tolerance, okay?
Thank you.
Mothers use it all the time. All right. Okay, everybody. Well done on a great grammar class. I hope that's cleared things up for you. If you do have any questions, get in touch with me on Facebook or Verbling, my Verbling teacher page, and I hope to see you all again soon.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank
Bye,
you.
bye,
All right.
teacher.
Good
Bye,
night.
guys.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you, Amy. Bye.